Hey there, I'm Jim Rohn and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into something I know keeps a lot of you up at night. Why do avoidants, those people who seem to pull away just when you need them most, stay stuck in their ways? Maybe you're frustrated, wondering why they dodge connection, ghost you without warning, or shut down when things get real. Sound familiar? If you're nodding right now, you're not alone. Millions of us wrestle with this psychological puzzle, and it's driving us crazy trying to figure out what's it going to take for them to change. Here's the thing. Avoidants don't just wake up one day and decide to open up. No amount of pleading, chasing, or even ultimatum seems to crack that wall they've built. But here's where it gets juicy. There is a turning point, a hidden trigger that flips the switch for them. And no, it's not what you think. It's not about you fixing them or waiting around forever. In this video, I'm pulling back the curtain on the one thing that has to happen for an avoidant to finally step out of their shell. Trust me, it's a game changer, and once you see it, you'll never look at these relationships the same way again. Stick with me to the end, because I'm not just dropping the what. I'm giving you the how to spot it, handle it, and maybe even turn things around in your own life. Curious yet? Good, hit that play button and let's get into it. Oh, and if you're new here, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell, because every week I'm breaking down the stuff that's messing with your head and showing you how to take back control. Let's do this. Russell Brand's Recovery is a captivating book that dives into a truth many of us overlook. We're all addicts in some way, even if we don't see it. It's not always about drugs or alcohol. Our addictions are sneakier, woven into everyday life. Think about how we're glued to our phones, crave sugar, or overindulge in things we laugh off, like saying, "Oops, I devoured way too much ice cream this weekend." These habits seem harmless because everyone does them, and we use them to dodge our feelings without a second thought. But for some, this avoidance ramps up to another level. They lean on certain behaviors or distractions to bury their emotions and disconnect from themselves, often because they're carrying a heavy load of shame. The turning point, much like in addiction, comes when someone hits rock bottom. You hear about this all the time in recovery stories, and it's something I explored deeply while working on my master's degree. I found it fascinating that for most people, whether they're addicts or just stuck in avoidance, change only sparks after they've crashed. For avoiders, though, that crash isn't always obvious. It's not like they wake up in a hospital or lose everything overnight. Instead, it's a slow burn, a moment that creeps up, maybe after years of quietly hating themselves or seeing how their habits have frayed their relationships. Suddenly they think, "I can't keep living like this forever." What's tricky is that avoiders often take longer to reach this breaking point than addicts do. Their habits, like scrolling endlessly online or shutting people out, don't scream danger the way substance abuse does. Society shrugs at these behaviors, even approves of them, so it's harder to spot the damage. But make no mistake, numbing out with a screen or isolation still chips away at their nervous system and connections with others. It's just a quieter kind of chaos, one that doesn't land them in rehab but keeps them stuck all the same. Brand's book shines a light on this subtle struggle, making it both eye-opening and oddly relatable. One thing that often happens with avoiders, and it's true for addicts too, is that they're surrounded by people who love them deeply. These are the friends, family, or partners who see the good in them, who understand they're not bad people, just struggling. They recognize the pain, the childhood wounds, the reasons behind why they've turned to avoidance or addiction as a shield. And usually it's the highly empathetic, caring, sensitive types who gravitate toward them. Why? Because they see the real person underneath, the potential, the soul that could shine if things were different. But here's the catch. That big-hearted empathy can backfire. It leads these loved ones to make endless excuses, to give too much space for the avoidance or addiction to keep running the show. They don't want to push too hard because they care so much. That reminds me of a story. Lila sat across from her friend Jenna at the cozy coffee shop, the steam from their mugs curling into the air. They'd been catching up when Jenna mentioned a podcast she'd heard from this guy Simon Carter. Lila adored him. He had this knack for saying things that hit you right in the gut. Jenna leaned in, her voice soft but excited. He talked about how we drown the people we love with all this understanding, you know. But sometimes we've got to pull back, not because we're mad, but to keep ourselves from breaking. Simon had called it stepping away with grace. Or at least that's how Jenna remembered it. Lila grinned. She was probably mangling the exact phrase, but it didn't matter. The idea stuck. It reminded Lila of her brother, Sam. He was tangled in a mess of his own making, always scrolling through his phone to avoid the world or numbing out with cheap beer. She could see it tearing him apart, fraying the edges of their family too. Everyone in their little circle talked about it in hushed tones, the way you do when someone's spiraling. Lila had spent years trying to hold him together, but Simon's words echoed in her mind now. The kindest thing, he'd said, was to loosen your grip, not walk away forever, just stop letting their storm sweep you under. It wasn't easy. Lila loved Sam fiercely, but she couldn't keep drowning in his chaos. That night she sat on her porch, replaying the podcast in her head. Simon's voice was steady. You can love someone and still choose yourself. It wasn't selfish. It was like putting on your own oxygen mask first. Stepping away with grace, she whispered to the stars, testing the words. They felt warm, solid, like a lifeline. She didn't have to lose Sam to save herself. She just had to stop being wreckage in his wake. It was a quiet revelation, one that didn't erase her care but gave her room to breathe. And somehow, that simple shift felt like the strongest love she'd ever offered. Avoidance has a sneaky way of sticking around because not enough people call it out as a real issue. It's easy for someone to keep dodging life when they've got a big, heavy story to lean on. Maybe their parents were cold or chaotic, and that backstory makes sense to anyone looking in. You can see why they're wired this way. They're carrying deep wounds, never learned how to sit with their feelings, and built these habits as kids to survive. They're not villains. Painting them as the bad guy only twists the knife deeper. But here's the kicker. You've still got to shield yourself from getting dragged down. That's why I'm hooked on the idea of detaching with love. It's like keeping your heart open but redirecting that care so they've got room to stumble into their own wake-up call, without you crumbling in the process. I saw this play out in a wild way once. I was at this conference, surrounded by people who'd hit the wall hard. These were folks who'd spent years ducking reality, drowning in toxic patterns, tanking their relationships, watching marriages teeter on the edge. Their spouses were done, their lives were unraveling, and they were finally feeling the weight of it all because the people around them stopped cushioning the fall. It's not about tiptoeing anymore. When someone's actions ripple out and hurt others, they need to feel that sting, face the mess they've made, otherwise they'll never shift. It's a universal truth we all learn through consequences, but it's especially glaring with people who refuse to peek inward. Too often, they're propped up by a circle of enablers who let the cycle spin. Sheltering them doesn't help. It just keeps the gears grinding. If you're reading this and wondering how to break free, it's tough. You love them. You see their potential. You ache to be the one who pulls them through. Maybe you dream of fixing them, for you, for some grand story. But that's not your gig. You're not their savior. The real question is, are you fueling their avoidance? Are you the spark that forces them to face themselves? You can't straddle both. I've watched people wrestle with this, wanting to love harder, to hold on tighter, thinking their care can rewrite the script. But sometimes the most powerful move is stepping back, not to abandon them, but to let them crash into their own turning point. It's brutal, beautiful, and messy all at once. Because real change doesn't come from you playing hero. It comes when they've got no choice but to look in the mirror. People caught in avoidance often glance around at their lives, puzzled and frustrated, wondering why everyone lets them slide. Why does their mom just nod along? Why does their brother keep singing their praises? Why do friends brush off the mistakes, the chaos they've caused, leaving someone else to pick up the tab? It's maddening to watch. You're stuck in the middle, feeling this itch of unease around them while everyone else seems to cheer them on. You want to shout, "No, hold up, this person's dodging everything. They're on a fast track to torching every relationship, wrecking their own happiness, and dragging everyone down with them." Unless we all draw a line and say, enough, you've hurt too many people, fix it, nothing changes. That's when the bottom drops out. And it doesn't always take a grand disaster. Sometimes it's the smallest spark that sends them crashing. I've seen it happen in the weirdest ways. Once, a guy I knew hit rock bottom because of a movie. Wish I could recall the title, it'd be gold to pass along. Whatever it was, something in those flickering scenes grabbed him by the collar and screamed, "Wake up, you're doing the exact same thing." He wasn't expecting it, but that random film flipped a switch. You never know what'll be the messenger. A song, a fight, a quiet moment that sneaks up and slaps them awake. But here's the thing, those of us who care, we're often tempted to play delivery service ourselves. We want to march up, hand them the golden truth on a platter and beg, "Here's what you need, please take it, change your life. I love you, I'm rooting for you, and honestly I need you to love me back." It's sweet, sure, but it's also a trap. When we try to orchestrate their big revelation, we're not just helping, we're controlling. And that doesn't free them, it locks us both in tighter. The truth is, they've got to trip into that moment themselves. You can't script it, no matter how much you ache to see them whole. It's not your job to be their savior or their wake-up call. That's a burden you weren't built to carry. Stepping back doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you trust the universe to drop the right bomb when they're ready. Maybe it's a movie, maybe it's a meltdown, whatever it is, it's theirs to find. And while you're waiting, you get to breathe, to stop being the cleanup crew for their chaos. That's the wild, messy beauty of it. Real change comes when they're the ones asking, "What am I even doing?" Not when you're shouting it for them. The best move, hands down, is to step back with love, tough as it might feel. It's not about slamming the door forever or sulking in some petty, passive-aggressive huff. That's not who you want to be, right? It's more like a quiet, honest nod to the mess. This hurts everyone, it's breaking us both. And I hate pulling away, but I have to. For me, and yeah, for you too. Because here's the thing, it's not just you wrestling with it, they're struggling too, dodging the mirror every chance they get. Letting go isn't easy for them either. It's like they're clinging to you to avoid the real stuff gnawing at them. And that's where it gets tricky. When an avoider starts feeling those little flickers of guilt or sadness, they might rush to you with a shaky, "I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to treat you like that." Your instinct? You want to swoop in, smooth it over. "It's okay, I get it, don't worry." But hold up, that's not detaching with love. That's swallowing their words whole and ignoring what they do next. See, if you let that apology erase everything, you're right back where you started. It's like handing them a free pass to numb out again, guilt-free. You've just dusted off their conscience for them, and they'll lean on that quick fix instead of facing the hard stuff. Detaching with love isn't about rejecting them. It's about letting those flickers of regret burn a little longer. Not to punish them, but to give them space to actually feel it, to maybe do something real about it. You're not their emotional janitor, sweeping up every spill so they can keep coasting. It's wild how fast we jump to forgive, thinking it's kindness, when really it's just propping up the same old cycle. Step back instead, gently, firmly, and watch what happens. Maybe they'll surprise you, maybe they won't, but you're not stuck holding their mess anymore. That's the magic of it. You're free, they're free, and the ball's in their court to figure out what's next. It's not cold. It's the warmest kind of tough love there is. All right, here's the deal. It's got to be about actions, not just words. Setting firm boundaries with love doesn't just nudge people toward their breaking point. It lights the path. I've watched folks cling to this hope that if they stick around long enough, if they just keep pouring in effort, things will flip. But here's a gem for anyone still wondering how to spark change. This is where self-love kicks in, like a superpower. When you show up for yourself, treating yourself the way you want to be treated. It's like tossing a pebble into a pond. The ripples spread, and suddenly others see what's possible. It's not about preaching. It's about living it. I've seen relationships shift this way, dynamics flipping because one person decided to lead by example. And no, this isn't about clutching on to some fairy tale hope that they'll magically transform. The real move is saying, this version of them, it doesn't fit my life. "I'm done here," that slams the door shut. Not out of spite, but to let them wrestle with their stuff while you tackle yours. Because, let's flip the mirror for a second. How different are you really? Maybe your addiction isn't booze or scrolling, it's them. We've all got blind spots, little corners where we dodge our own pain. Obsessing over their mess, trying to decode it, fix it, understand it. That's your avoidance dance. Imagine sitting still instead, letting it hit you. This sucks. I'm sad. I'm let down by how this turned out. That's the raw stuff you've got to face, feel, and release. It's not pretty, but it's real. And here's the kicker. You don't do it alone. Healing happens when you lean into connection, not when you're holed up solo. Grab someone who gets it. Spill it all out, your frustration, your grief, and you're halfway there. They say a problem shared is a problem halved, and it's no lie. Voicing it to someone who nods, who sees you, cracks the weight wide open. So yeah, detaching isn't just about them hitting rock bottom. It's your breakthrough too. It's stepping out of their shadow and into your own light. You stop being their crutch and they stop being yours. That's the wild part. By letting go, you're not just saving yourself. You're showing them what's possible when you quit numbing out and start showing up. It's messy, it's honest, and it's the kind of love that actually changes things. For both of you. And there you have it. Detaching with love isn't just a lifeline for someone lost in avoidance. It's a wake-up call for us all. It's about choosing actions over empty promises, setting boundaries that heal, and showing up for yourself in a way that inspires others to do the same. This journey isn't about fixing anyone. It's about letting go so they can hit their own rock bottom and rise, while you stop dodging your own shadows. We've all got our crutches, whether it's them or something else, but real change sparks when we face the mess, feel it, and share it with someone who gets it. That's where the magic happens, in connection, not isolation. It's tough, it's raw, but it's beautiful. Because when you step back with love, you're not just saving your peace, you're planting a seed for something real to grow. For both of you. To everyone who's stuck with me through this video, thank you. Seriously, your time and attention mean the world, and I'm so grateful you're here exploring these messy human truths with me. I hope this hit home for you, maybe even flipped a switch or two. If it did, don't keep it to yourself. Drop a comment below and let me know what you're thinking. Did this spark a story of your own? A light bulb moment? I'd love to hear how you're navigating this stuff in your life. And hey, if you vibed with this, hit that subscribe button. It's the easiest way to stay in the loop for more real talk videos like this one. We're building something special here, a little community where we can unpack the hard stuff together. So join in, share your voice, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks again for watching, for reflecting, and for being part of this ride. You're not alone in this, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.